cap on it, groundwater or septic waste that is draining into it could come down this in a matter of days, be pumped out in a water well over here, and you'll short circuit contaminated water. And we think this may have already happened back in the late 80s in Sedona area. So sinkholes, the ones we know of, we have 7 of them. And here's another one that a lot of people aren't aware of. If you've ever been out to the Pulaski pictograph area, there's a little ridge between that and a sinkhole. This one would rival the size of Devil's Kitchen, but Bear Canyon has a water flow coming down here that now goes directly into the sinkhole. And just below my feet where I'm standing is where the water will drain, and when there's a rapid runoff you can hear water going down that, like water going down a bathtub. And the far wall, here's those familiar northwest joints again. So surface water is able to percolate down. At depth, we're getting water coming off of the plateau that's coming through these systems. Here's the Nolan tank or Nolan draw sinkhole, the one I just mapped here. Again, this surface opening would be as big or bigger than this house, the exterior of this house. But notice there that I was astonished at the size. It just goes way, way out underneath here. So these things are belling out downwards, indicating collapse into very large caves underneath. Picture from our house, rapid snowmelt up in Oak Creek Canyon. These kinds of outflows don't add to our water supply. They would add to the water supply of the Verde River and Phoenix, but they pass through quickly. Our summer monsoons is when we get about half of our precipitation. This year, I think we can call it a non-soon. Anyway, not too much rain this year. Locally there was rains, but we had very little where we lived in Sedona this summer. We have a lot of lightning activity in the monsoon period. And Oak Creek, this is the 3rd of these floods that we've seen since we've lived there since 1971. Each time they're called a 100-year flood, if that tells you anything. They're building the new bridge right here. I hope the new bridge can hold. So here's what's going on up on the something like the San Francisco Peaks, where you'll have moist air coming in from the Pacific in the wintertime particularly. The classic orographic uplift. You have the clouds rising, precipitating on the peaks, dropping off to the east side, drying out. Get a good winter snowfall. So here's my take on what we've got. The green line would represent the greater Verde watershed, which would go way the heck up into Chino, up to Seligman and clear down. Here's Prescott here. So you've got water coming up into Paulden area on the Granite River, Verde River coming in, Sycamore Creek, Oak Creek. But the oxygen isotopes studies are telling us that the water is coming from up here at about 7,000 feet of elevation. So we've got about 700 square miles of watershed coming off of this side of the San Francisco Peaks. So the point is that groundwater is not going where surface water is going. They're going independently of one another. And the Mogollon Rim is adding water into West Clear Creek and into Walker Creek and Beaver Creek. And so you're getting some input here, but you're getting very little on the Cottonwood and Jerome side. This is pretty dry over here, except what lands up on the high part of Mingus. So we're getting a preferential flow coming through underneath the Sedona area, through the Mogollon Rim at depth, and discharging at Page Springs. There's a few little small springs up in here and up in Sycamore, but here's a biggie right here. So this is the take on this. So here would be our recharge, and the water would be percolating down, coming through these cave systems in the red wall, and then popping up to the surface at Page Springs. So what I visualize here is that our sinkholes, we got 3 over here, 3 over in here, this one down here. There's got to be an intricate connection, and every one of the sinkholes is on a northwest fracture, every single one of them. So whether there's, my guess would be, and it's only a guess, is that caves are traveling across and moving back in a very intricate manner, but they're coalescing and coming out right in these springs right here. You have Lolomai, Bubbling Spring, Page Spring, and a little one at Spring Creek. That's not very big, but that's about 15 million gallons a day. And so if you drill a hole underneath Sedona, you would have a drill hole going through red wall limestone filled with these solution cavities. This happens to be Vesey's paradise up in the Grand Canyon, but that's what lies underneath Sedona. And here would be the Bubbling Springs area. How many here have seen Bubbling Springs? A couple of you, yeah. This is an area where you see the sand boiling out of the bottom and water coming up. And this is just one of 3 major springs that make the Page Springs runoff. So that's what I got.